Hello, I'm Garlic, and today we are going to start a new journey. In this tool-assisted speedrun, we're going to save all of the fleas, most importantly. We're going to do it with low equipment, and I guess as long as we're there, we'll go ahead and do the true ending. So this run involves quite a bit of time to complete. And rather than disappear for half a year and then drop a 4-hour video on y'all, I decided to release this as the task progresses. So you will be able to see it in smaller pieces and won't have to wait forever for the new task to come out. So for this route, in order to do true ending, we're going to have to do a bunch of different quest requirements. And so to meet those quest requirements, we're going to have to gather a lot of little side objectives that normally a speedrun would want to skip. So for example, we're going to go to the right here, and we're going to get the beast shard from this little guy. This beast shard is worth quite a few shards, and that we can use to turn in for one of the quests in Bone Bottom. We're actually going to do both of the shard-consuming quests there, but we do want to do the first one pretty early, so we grab that beast shard as a nice, quick, easy source of shards. So the actual movement through here is pretty similar to the previous task, if you've seen that. I have optimized things a little bit here, so the pogo movement is a little bit smoother, and we're using cooldown reduction to get a better timing on it. So there we did a trick where we actually pogo right before the trigger, which reduces the amount of time that you have to spend walking. And that actually saves a ridiculous amount of time between this and the other illness cutscene later. So it's a nice little time save over the original. Quick little detour to grab some rosaries. We're going to need a lot of rosaries in this run, so we do stop and grab those in a few convenient places. I've changed the routing in this room as well to match the new timings that have been figured out. So we go around the right side, which is just very slightly faster than going through the middle. You can also see that we are using a combination of pogos and side slashes to get through those doors. It's fastest to do a pogo side slash pogo as long as the first pogo hits the door conveniently in the normal flow of movement. If it doesn't, then you can just do a side slash. It doesn't really matter. But if you can arrange it so that pogo hits. We also start this fight earlier. You saw that we hit that cocoon on the way in. Or I guess those are cocoons, I'm not entirely sure. But that starts the fight a little bit sooner. And then we just pogo to stay up in the air. Keep doing damage as much as possible. A few little delays with the pogos, but not too bad. And then there's a quick fight. That's a nice, quick Moscado. Now we have some more unskippable cutscenes. I have switched to Chinese on this patch, which is substantially faster than English. Now that this isn't my casual run anymore, we can start doing some more optimizations like that. This game really does have quite a few unskippable cutscenes. It's a surprising amount of the overhead of the total run when you actually look at how much time is spent. But the Chinese text definitely saves a substantial amount of time here with the text matching. So let's talk a little bit about routing here. We're going to want to get a lot of rosaries because I'm taking a slightly different route than the normal low TE. Normally low TE will prioritize getting float, and then we'll go over and eventually get clean grip. I actually want to get clean grips earlier because tasks can use clean grip to do some faster movement. Because it's low percent, we don't get dash, which is one of the major constraints that changes our movement and also changes the way we need to route things. So what we want to do is we want to get cling grip first, which is a little bit tricky. And so we're going to go through Wormways, which means we have to get a simple key. So we're going to need a lot of rosaries to buy that simple key. So we're going to make some dips in here. Now we're going to do this Beast Fly Pogo, which is a nice quick way to bypass most of the marrow. And then there's another Rosary Rock over on the right here. Between these two rocks, we get a fairly good chunk of rosaries, but we are going to have to do a little bit of farming once we get past Bellbeast. So the normal low percent route that doesn't do true ending actually has to skip Bellbeast entirely. And so it has to do the same rosary farming to be able to afford the key, but it's not able to get Silk Spear. But in our case, we can get Silk Spear, so we're not going to farm on the way in here, just because the farming is going to be more efficient once we have Silk Spear. But we will detour briefly to grab this relic, because that's going to be useful for rosaries later. We're not going to grab that string over there, because that takes a fair while to get to. It's a little bit awkward. Quick little enemy pogo to get up here, and then we can get Silk Spear. Silk Spear is going to be our only silk skill throughout the game. And we're going to be using it for most of our damage. Although we do get access to a nail upgrade later, which is going to help a bit. Unlike regular low percent, we don't get to have access to the cross-stitch ability. Regular low percent actually goes through the mist, because cross-stitch ends up being lower percent than going through Last Judge. And that's because in order to do Last Judge, you need to hit the Marrow Bell, and the Marrow Bell is blocked by the Bellbeast. And in regular low percent, we don't fight the Bellbeast, because that costs us a percent for getting the Silk Spear and for getting the card. But for this run, we need the Bellbeast. So, it's fine for us to actually spend the time to do it. We're going to do a phase skip here, which basically we get 3 hits on each of those, which is pretty tight. And then we're going to do just enough damage so that it's entering the next phase, and then we've got enough saved up to be able to kill it. Or finish it off. We don't actually kill the Bellbeast. Aira's going to be with us for the rest of the run. But more long cutscenes. And then we have to do the obligatory gratuitous platforming section here. There's a little bit of optimization that goes into this platforming. One of the things you can do when you're jumping up these platforms is you can release jump early so that you're just holding the directional input. And that does cause you to grab sooner. You can also see sometimes we do, when we can get over the platform, we'll use a quick pogo to be able to jump again quickly. There's a lot of little optimizations like that with managing your jumping and managing your clings to try to avoid unnecessary clings and to try to get more efficient jumps where possible so that you're not having to wait for the small delay to fall back onto the platform. So this gives us the heart. And now that we have the heart, we are going to grab a couple of quests. One of the quests that we need to do is to gather garb from the pilgrims. And we're going to be having to kill a bunch of pilgrims for rosaries anyway, so it makes sense to do that quest in parallel. And plus it also provides some of the rosaries for that grind, because you end up getting 120 for that quest, basically. So we take the beast, and then we're going to exit into Bell Bottom. And now the quest board is built because we've finished the Bellbeast fight. So we're going to go grab that, and we're also going to grab the fleas quest. We're going to turn that in later. We don't have enough shards yet for the shard quest, so we're going to wait on that. We'll turn that in once we turn in the garb quest. So we quit out. This takes us to the hard save. because this is pretty close to where we're going to be doing our rosary farming. So in order to get the rosaries, we want to kind of efficiently go in a loop. And these enemies will drop garb, as well as dropping a fair amount of rosaries. And so we strip them for their clothing. Yeah, we're beating up pilgrims for their money and clothing. It's a very strange sequence in the game if you think about it. Now here we do something a little bit cheeky. So we grab these rosaries, grab this garb, and then we arrange an early control from the active. Doesn't save a lot of time, but it's a cute little sequence. And you can see that since we have Silk Spear, we're able to do the farm very efficiently. Normally it takes a couple nail hits to kill each of these. So by mixing in the Silk Spears, we're able to take care of things a lot more efficiently. So here, I believe we're able to line it up a little bit better so that we can go over the top again. And this lets us kill this guy as well. We skipped him on one of the cycles just because it was a little bit slow to get back up there. But here we arranged so that it wasn't too slow. That far right one might have been better to skip because we do have to kill a few more of them anyways. But it's not a long detour. I wasn't able to arrange the early control this time. I did skip that guy because it is pretty far away, and we're going to finish the quest here pretty quick anyways. I believe this is the last one. Yeah. So that was the last bit of clothing we needed. But I believe there's one more cycle, and then we're going to go grab some additional rosaries. Got a little more farming here, using the Silk Spears. Skip that guy again because we were a little bit far left. Don't want to go around for him. And now we're going to go ahead and grab some rosaries down here. We're going to grab this one, which is pretty easy to get, and there's one that's a little bit further away. We hit the elevator, because we're going to want that later to come back up from Bone Bottom. And then we go around here. These are a little bit slow to get because you have to go all the way around, but it's a fairly decent chunk of rosaries, and you can get them pretty early, so we go ahead and grab it, and then we can quit out. So now we can do one more pass through the upper room, and then we're going to grab another set of rosaries on the way out. Interesting optimizing these segments as tasks because there's a lot of randomness. And then, so you can see there we actually got the Silk Spear to hit the enemy behind us. The hitbox on the Silk Spear is like that, it's able to do it. We're going to do this little skip here, which is a little bit faster than waiting for the orbiting one to come around. So there's a rock over here, and then there is another set of rosaries down here that requires a fairly precise double pogo to get to. And then we're going to grab this relic as well, as long as we're here. Fun fact, if you just dash off of there like this, you will fall in that hole. So you have to be very careful at the end there to make sure you just don't fall all the way back to the beginning of the game. So now we can turn in the garb. That's going to give us a necklace, which is worth 120 rosaries. So we're going to break all of our rosaries and break our shards. We're going to turn in the shards quest as well. The one that we skip here is the Moss Berries quest, and that's because we can't get the tool associated with that because that would be a percent. So we have to skip that. And now we can take the elevator up, and we're going to make our way to Wormways now that we have the key. You did notice that we're able to jump on top of the elevator there. That's a little bit faster than riding in the inside of the elevator because you can debark more quickly. We do this skip yet again. This is actually the second of 3 times we'll have to do that skip. And now we get to cross this room. This room is quite fun with the straggler. We want to get hit here because we want to take a little bit of damage to improve something we need to do later. But we don't want to take too many hits, and so one is a decent amount. Gonna go ahead and open this door. And this brings us into Wormways, but Wormways is a little bit tricky because you're supposed to have dash to get through here. So we're gonna have to be a little bit sneaky. Oh yeah, we took a little bit of damage there, and oh, I guess rip run? No, we're gonna take advantage of that cocoon. If you want to see more, like and subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next episode comes out. Thanks everyone.